Welcome aboard! Join me as we dive into the legendary battleships of the two world wars, exploring their history, firepower, and the battles that shaped and redefined our naval warfare history. So, let's set sail into the past. In the years following the First World War, France found itself at a difficult crossroads. Once home to one of the greatest and most modern navies in the world, but now the French fleet had fallen behind. As the 1930s unfolded, the world grew darker. Germany, under Adolf Hitler and Nazi control, was rearming at a terrifying speed. Italy, under Mussolini, built a powerful fleet to dominate the Mediterranean. France could not afford to stand still. A new generation of battleships was needed, fast, modern, and strong. In 1935, France laid down the keel of a ship meant to change everything. She would be a symbol of national pride and of a new, modern, and powerful French navy. Her name was Richelieu, named after Cardinal Richelieu, the founder of the modern French navy during the reign of King Louis XIII. Richelieu would be one of the most distinctive battleships the French would ever build. She was over 247 meters long. At full load, she displaced nearly 48,000 tons. This arrangement gave her a compact and well-armored citadel, reducing the weight needed for protection while maximizing overall firepower. Her new designed armor was very impressive compared to her peers. A thick belt, 330 millimeters wide, shielded her from most enemy shells. Her decks were heavily protected as well, guarding against plunging fire and air attacks. She could outrun many enemies with a top speed over 30 knots, and she could outgun almost anything afloat at the time. Richelieu was a battleship built for a new era, and France needed her more desperately than ever. As Europe plunged into war in 1939, Richelieu was still under construction. Crews worked tirelessly day and night to complete her, knowing the German threat was growing by the hour. But time had now ran out. In May of 1940, Germany invaded France. Within weeks, German forces were sweeping across the country with frightening speed. In June, with the fall of France looming, the decision was made. Richelieu must escape, even if she was not fully finished. On the 18th of June, 1940, Richelieu left the naval base at Brest. Her hull was not even fully protected at this stage, and worse, her electronics were still incomplete. Her secondary guns were missing critical control and fire systems, but she had to sail. And sail now, or risk falling into enemy hands. Captain Marzin, her commanding officer, guided the mighty battleship through dangerous waters. German aircraft saturated the skies, German mines and deadly submarines lurked beneath the cold waves. Yet, after a very tense voyage, the mighty Richelieu reached safety at Dakar, in French West Africa. Only days later, on the 22nd of June, France officially surrendered to Germany. A new government, known as the Vichy regime, took control. Richelieu, a symbol of French pride, now belonged to a government that many saw as collaborating with the enemy. At Dakar, Richelieu sat under a strange flag, loyal to France, but isolated from the war raging across Europe. But her greatest test was still to come. In September 1940, the British launched Operation Menace. They hoped to persuade Dakar, and Richelieu herself, to join the Free French forces led by General Charles de Gaulle. But the defenders, including Richelieu's crew, remained loyal to the Vichy government. What followed was a fierce and very bitter battle. British ships and aircraft attacked Dakar. Richelieu fought back with her massive 15-inch guns. However, her fire control systems were incomplete, and her accuracy suffered greatly. One shell, intended for the enemy, struck a dockyard crane, and then Richelieu's rudder was damaged by a British torpedo, this limiting her maneuverability. Yet, despite the damage and confusion, Richelieu survived the attack. The British fleet was forced to withdraw. Richelieu's survival was a point of pride for the Vichy government, but it also meant that one of the most powerful battleships in the world still remained outside of Allied control. Richelieu's future was uncertain. Her loyalty was questioned, and her destiny was far from decided. Richelieu had escaped destruction, for now, but the fires of a world at war would soon call her to a new mission, one far greater than anyone could have predicted. After the battle at Dakar, Richelieu remained anchored in an uneasy peace. She was wounded, but alive. Her great hull bore the scars of torpedoes and gunfire, her rudder was damaged, her systems were still incomplete, but her spirit, and the spirit of her crew, remained unbroken. For nearly 2 years, Richelieu stayed at Dakar. Her role was largely defensive, a lonely guardian of a forgotten harbor. France was divided, and Europe burned. It seemed that the fate of the world was being decided without her, but then, in late 1942, everything changed. The Allies launched Operation Torch, a massive invasion of North Africa. American and British forces landed across Algeria and Morocco. Confrontations with Vichy forces broke out, but the tide quickly turned. Facing overwhelming force, the Vichy government in North Africa collapsed. French forces in the region, including the Navy, switched sides to join the Allies, and with them came Richelieu. Finally, the great battleship would find herself on the right side of history. But Richelieu was not in any good shape for frontline service. She would need repairs and serious upgrades if she was ever to take her place among the world's mightiest fleets. In January of 1943, Richelieu set sail across the Atlantic Ocean, her destination, the Brooklyn Navy Yard in New York City. It was a remarkable sight, a French battleship, once firing at British ships, now being welcomed into an American harbor, a symbol of new alliances and shared hopes. At Brooklyn, Richelieu underwent a massive modernization. American engineers repaired her damaged rudder and strengthened her hull. The Americans installed state-of-the-art radar systems, giving the great ship the eyes she had always been lacking. Not only that, her fire control system was extensively overhauled, dramatically improving her great guns' accuracy. Her anti-aircraft defenses were reinforced with modern American guns, essential for the air battles of the modern war. By October of 1943, Richelieu emerged transformed, stronger, faster, deadlier. She joined the British Eastern Fleet that was operating in the Indian Ocean, her mission to strike at the Japanese in Southeast Asia, and to help secure the seas for Allied shipping and invasions. Richelieu participated in a series of bombardments against Japanese-held territories. Her main guns thundered against enemy positions in Sumatra and the Nicobar Islands. She supported amphibious landings. She stood guard over Allied convoys. Though she never faced a full-scale naval battle against another battleship, Richelieu proved her worth. She showed endurance, firepower, and determination, and perhaps most importantly, she showed the world that France was still fighting. When Japan surrendered in August of 1945, Richelieu was there to witness the end of a global conflict. She sailed into Singapore, anchoring alongside other great battleships of the British and American navies for the official surrender ceremonies. The French tricolour flew proudly from her mast, a symbol of a nation's survival, and of a long journey finally completed. After the war, Richelieu returned to France. She became the flagship of the French Navy, a role she had long deserved. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, she served in a variety of roles, including operations in Indochina during the early stages of the Vietnam conflict. She also served as a training ship for the next generation of French sailors, but the age of the battleship was coming to an end. Aircraft carriers, missiles, and even nuclear weapons changed the face of naval warfare. By the mid-1950s, Richelieu was becoming increasingly obsolete. In 1967, after her final decade of service, she was decommissioned. Shortly afterwards, she was scrapped, her steel recycled into the very future she had helped defend. Today, Richelieu lives on as one of history's greatest battleships. She was more than steel and guns. She was a survivor, a warrior, a symbol of a nation's fall and rise. From the chaos of 1940 to the victory of 1945, Richelieu sailed through history with honor, and though her hull is gone, her legacy remains, a testament to resilience, courage, and the enduring spirit of France. Today, nothing remains of the great battleship Richelieu, no museum, no towering guns, no silent hull at anchor, but her story, the story of a ship that defied defeat, crossed oceans, and fought for freedom, lives on. Richelieu was not just a battleship, she was a promise that even in the darkest hour, hope would sail again. Remember, subscribing is totally free. It also helps our channel grow and we appreciate it immensely. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe and explore our channel for previous battleship videos. Bye for now and Godspeed.